And welcome back. I hope you're all doing well. Tonight we have part one of a multi-part series covering the Linux terminal. I'm going to break this down into a series of parts, and I'm not exactly sure how many yet, but we're going to cover the terminal commands that we use in Linux, some of us on a rather daily basis. We're going to start off simple, and then with each part, or episode rather, we'll work our way up to more advanced commands. If you watched my previous videos on the Linux file system, you'll know that I'm a firm believer in focusing on learning the file system and the terminal, especially if you're a new user. I feel that it's a great way to build a firm foundation on understanding Linux. Now, it is true that Linux has come a long way since the days of old, and with how far desktop environments and package managers have come, you can pretty much limit yourself on how often you need to access the terminal. But again, to really learn Linux, I think it's crucial that you learn the terminal and the commands we use. Not to be repetitive, but I just really wanted to hammer that point home. Alright, so with that said, I thank you for watching, and let's go ahead and jump into it. Alright, so one of the first basic commands that I want to introduce you to is a command called killall. So that's one word, K-I-L-L-A-L-L, and this command allows us to terminate any active processes or applications. So for example, I'm going to type in, or I already have typed in killall, and then I'm going to type in Steam. So you can see I have Steam running up here in the corner, and when I hit enter, it shuts Steam completely down. So you can use this command at any time to, again, terminate any process or application you have open. And then we'll clear that out by simply typing the word clear, hitting enter, and we're good to go. Now, if you want to exit your terminal, you simply just type in the word exit, and the terminal shuts down. All right, so next up we have the command sudo, or sudo, depending on how you want to pronounce it. Sudo or sudo stands for super user do, and this command essentially gives us temporary rights to execute privileged actions. Some commands you can execute without sudo, for example list. We type in ls, and it shows us a list of everything that's in our home directory. So while we're on the topic of sudo, or sudo, let's talk about the difference between upgrade and update. So update, as the word implies, updates the package list for available updates for packages. It does a bit more, but for our sake for now, we'll stop at that. We'll get into that more detail in another part. So you might be asking, what exactly is a package and a package list? Well, a package is basically all the files and data that an application needs to run. I think a good analogy is to think of a zip file, but in the package's case, it is a compressed file that contains all of the files and data that an application needs to run. And a package list, as the name implies, is simply a list of all the packages on your machine. All right, so let's go ahead and put update and upgrade into action. So we already have sudo typed, and we're going to type in apt. And if you haven't seen my videos on the Linux file system, I recommend you check those out because we do cover what apt is and what it does. Then we're going to type in update. Hit enter, put in our password, and let it do its thing. All right, all packages are up to date, so we are now going to type in sudo apt upgrade. And since everything's up to date, I don't expect us to have any outcome on that. Hit enter, and yes, 0 upgraded, 0 newly installed, 0 to remove, and 0 not upgraded. So we'll go ahead and clear this out. Now, if you want to save some time, you can always type in sudo apt update and sudo apt upgrade. Hit enter. It's going to ask you to put in your password if you haven't already had your terminal open previously, and it'll do the same thing, but rather than taking 2 steps, you can simply complete both steps in one line. All right, so let's clear that out. If I can type, and we'll move on to the next. All right, so let's talk about how you change directories in the terminal. So change directory, simply cd. Let me put my cursor in here. CD stands for change directory, and we can navigate throughout the Linux file system with that simple command. However, we need a little more information than that. So first of all, let's see what we've got. Type in ls for list, as we've mentioned before. And you can see we have documents, downloads, games, Mango HUD, a variety of different video files in there, videos folder, public, desktop, etc. So let's go ahead and take a look at wallpapers, which is going to be in the pictures folder. So we're going to change directory to pictures. It is case sensitive. Now we can list out what we have in there. And we have content creation, memes, miscellaneous and random Nintendo Switch stuff, some screenshots, social media, shilling, some wallpapers, and etc. So let's go ahead and take a look at the wallpapers. Change directory into wallpapers, hit enter, and now we're in our wallpapers folder, and we can go ahead and list it out, and we can see what we have in here. So while we're on the topic, I want to show you how to remove or delete a file. So let's take this linux.jpg file, and let's get rid of it. So we're going to type in rm for remove, and then we simply type in linux.jpg, hit enter. Now let's run our list again, and you can see the Linux file has been removed, or the photo has been removed. Now at any point in time, if you want to go back to the home directory, you simply just type in cd, a space, and then the tilde, and we are back in the home directory. If you want to go to the root directory, you simply type cd space / hit enter, and we'll take a look, and now we're in the root directory. So let's clear that out and move on to the next topic. All right, so let's say you want to make a couple of directories in, let's say, our documents folder. We can do that by simply going into documents, and we can right click, choose new folder, and go from there. But what fun is that? After all, we're here to learn about the terminal. So let's do it the terminal way. So let's go ahead and change directory to documents, and let's list and see what we have in there. We have 3D printing, STL, and G code, a folder for that. We have a folder for bash scripts. We have a folder for Linux documentation, and so on. So to make a directory, we simply type in mk for make, dir, one word, for a directory, mkdir, put a space, and let's call it test. Hit enter, let's do another list check, and there we have our test folder, is now in our documents folder. Now you can also make multiple folders at the same time. So let's do that, mkdir, and let's call it test 1, test 2, and test 3. Hit enter, let's list it out, and here we go. So we have test 1, test 2, and test 3, and we can go into our documents folder, and here are our new folders, test 1, test 2, test 3, and the original test. Now to remove a directory, it's very simple. You simply type in rmdir, remove directory. It's been a very long week, I'm tired, so if seem like I'm slurring or stumbling over words, it's because of lack of sleep. So let's get rid of the test directory, or folder. So remove directory, space, and test, hit enter, let's check our list, and you can see that folder has been removed. And if we go to our documents folder, you can see that test is no longer there. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. And finally, for this episode, if you ever want to know where you are in your file system, you simply type in the letters pwd. And you can see we are at home rave. So let's go ahead and change directory to documents. And let's do pwd. And it shows you exactly where you are. All right. So that wraps up this episode. I thank you for watching. I hope you've gotten something out of this. And next week we'll come out with part 2, or episode 2, and we'll dive into some more basic commands, more intro level commands, and we'll go from there and we'll see how far we get. And then the following subsequent parts and episodes, we will start diving into a little more, how shall I say, complex commands. I hate to use the word complex because it sounds like, I don't want it to sound intimidating to the newer users, but more advanced commands. I'll put it that way. All right, so stay safe out there. Thank you again for watching. If you like this type of content, please consider subscribing, as it really does help me out reach my first goal of 500. And I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.